Hi, everybody. Welcome to Monday Night Live. I'm Laura Hopkins with Seven Oily Days, and tonight I'm joined by my brother from another mutter.
Nutter. There we
Another
go.
mutter. I have known Darren Johnson longer than I've been in Young Living, and that's not something I could say about a lot of people that I interact with on a daily basis. So, Darren Johnson, I met you in 1997. You were a newlywed to Sarah Johnson, your lovely bride, and I was dating his, not at the time, but very soon after I began dating her brother, Jonathan, who I've been married to for almost 28 years. Hard to believe. We're so young, but yet we've been married for nearly 3 decades. You guys are celebrating 30 years this year.
Yes, ma'am. Yep.
Congratulations. Well,
On a Young Living cruise to do it. So
yeah, that'll be awesome. That's going to have a lot of fun this year. Well, I want to thank you for agreeing to be on tonight because I know that usually, Darren's background is in production and TV. Has done decades worth of work with different television shows, produced television for ministries, and that's how I came to know him. First off, he is very talented in that arena, and I just want to give him the credit for stepping in front of the camera tonight, even though technically this is just a computer camera. But Darren is really a very they say still waters run deep, and Darren may not say a lot when he's in a crowd of people, but when he's in a smaller group, he's hilarious. He is has
turn me up.
comedic. He's a comedic genius. He's a
Genius. I like that.
genius, funny dude. And let's face it, we brought a lot of laughter and fun to the Hopkins family, didn't we?
We did. They
Let's
they
face it.
needed it. They needed
They
it.
needed us. But Darren's stepping in front tonight to be able to talk about his experience with the blood sugar and the journey that he had, kind of lifestyle choices leading up to being diagnosed and kind of the path he's taken. And even today, still having to do some traditional allopathic medical things, but he is 100% still working towards working with the natural world as well. So, Darren,
Yep.
I would like to just give you the floor and thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. It's been a great journey. For you that know me, you probably know me through my wife. And if you know her testimony, it was before Young Living, we ate trash. And we knew better. We knew that there was probably better things to do and better ways to be. But until we just didn't have really a line on anything till my wife she literally heard from God saying, you got to change it, change your generations. And so that's, when I started paying attention, wasn't really on board, but that was probably 2006. And I just kind of watched her grow and learn more about the oils and supplements and watch our kids become less and less sick. Because that was the biggest reason why we got in it. Our oldest daughter was always sick. My family, when we'd visit them in New Mexico, would always wonder what my oldest daughter would be sick with this time. The flu, pink eye, it was always something, but she'd just cough all the time. So that's kind of our history that got us into Young Living. And I slowly got on board, um, started using the oils and supplements, and started really just getting used to eating better. That was a big step. If I can give up Dr. Pepper and white bread, I tell you, anything is possible. So as I kind of got weaned off all that, I did still start noticing some things about my body after I had eaten so poorly for so many years. And in the back of my mind, I was like, well, I guess maybe I got away with it. I got in on these oils, and maybe I salvaged any damage I did. I hope I didn't do any damage, but I started noticing symptoms of just symptoms that they talk about on commercials of type 2 diabetes. Probably about 2013, 2012. And my dad has type 2, and Kieran has type 1. Was that correct? Had type 1. So, and I'd hear them talk about their symptoms, and I know type 1, type 2 symptoms aren't exactly the same.
Well, technically, Karen was type 2 also.
Oh,
Yeah,
wish. Okay.
she is. It was late onset, but yeah.
Okay. Well, so with that all going around, like, and that between that and we started work. I was working out with a trainer, and he noticed some things about my not being able to make it through workouts. Like we were only doing 30-minute workouts, and towards the end, I was like almost just, I'd be doing a push up for 5 minutes in the floor, not pushing up, and just And he's like, yeah, you probably need to go get a physical. Let's go get that checked. And I'm like, well, yeah, I need to find out, do I have type 2 diabetes? Because I really feel a lot of symptoms are manifesting. And sure enough, I went and did that. The doctor came in and said, yeah, your blood sugar should be around 100. And that day, after 8 hours of fasting, it was 450. So this was probably, 2015. I immediately that day, I'm like, okay, I am kind of adopting more or less the keto lifestyle. And, of course, I called Sarah, like, what oils do I need to do? I need to take this on because I do not want to die. I do not want limbs start falling off my body. I don't want to go blind. I mean, all the things were running through my mind. So, of course, Sarah got all the oils together that her mom, Karen, had been taking. And of course, we got Karen on the phone, and she was telling me about her regimen, her daily regimen. And so I kicked into gear, dropped bread, dropped almost all carbohydrates. Definitely no anything. I wasn't even doing fruit. Anything that had sugar in it, whether it's natural or not, I avoided it for well, that still do. It's kind of become a habit now. But that was immediate. And then I started taking my blood sugar, my daily blood sugar. My dad just happened to have a little kit. So I started taking that. And I noticed, okay, my body is still getting used to all this. And oils I was taking and I still take every day, about 20 drops in the morning and about 20 drops of coriander, cinnamon bark. Ocotea is the rock star, and dill and fennel. So that's my basketball team, with Ocotea kind of being the center for you basketball people. Uh, anyway, and I did notice, of course, this time I wasn't doing any other meds. I just did strictly oils. And there were still some things genetically that we had found that the reason why my body was insulin resistant was because of a vaccine. I had taken the flu vaccine when I was 6, and we had a doctor here in Houston that what do they call the epigeneticist, Laura? What's
Yes, that's correct. The
yeah,
epigenetic doctor. Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
He studied me for like 6 months or longer than that, and gave me some tinctures to take. But she was able to narrow down specifically what had triggered my insulin resistance. Said, yeah, it was the mercury in the flu shot when you were 6 or probably 7. That's when they gave them in the 70s. Like, well, all right. Well, at least we know. I mean, it's that in addition to, me treating my body like a trash can for, forever, didn't help. But anyway, so fast forward, taking all of that, started noticing the oils did contribute to knocking down my blood sugar about 30 to 40 points a day. So, but it was still high. It was still high. So there's still some things we needed to work on. And my body was fighting a bunch of other things, which really manifested in 2020. I had been doing okay, still working out, but still, even taking the oils and supplements, I was still just feeling really drained at the end of the workouts. even taking nitro and Nietzsche. It's like, okay, well, there's something else going on. And um, I had talked to, you know, about, I talked to our eye doctor about going to see a cardiologist. And of course, this was probably April of 2020. And but the madness is going on. He's like, well, hey, let's just wait till everything settles down. You don't want to have to go in there and mask up and do all these stupid things that they're requiring you do before you enter the clinic. So let's just wait a few months to go see a cardiologist. Your doctor, my doctor said you're checking out okay. You're not, I don't see any signs of, you know, that may, have an immediate heart attack. So that's like, okay, I could do that. So along comes June of 2020, during the convention, Young Living's convention in June. We had a bunch of people over that weekend. Of course, it was all virtual, and I couldn't get out of the room. I was feeling just, this was a different kind of sickness. It wasn't drainage, it wasn't flu like symptoms. It was like I had to go to the bathroom, like I was constipated, but I wasn't. I was still going to the bathroom. So Sarah was oiling me up 3 or 4 weeks. She was hosting what, 15 or 20 people, I think, for the convention at our house, and then going back to our bedroom and oiling me up, making sure I had all my ninja and nitro and applying oils to my feet. And definitely after 2 days of doing that solid, I really started feeling better, but I still wanted to see my doctor. I was like, what is going on? This is weird. I didn't think it was appendicitis. I didn't know what else it could be. So went and saw the doctor. He checked me out. He checked off for gallbladder and pancreas, or not pancreas, but gallbladder and appendix. He's like, I don't feel anything abnormal in your body, but there is something going on. But once again, he still recommended that I go see a cardiologist later, like in a month or two. So I jumped on, went back home, and Sarah's mom, no, Sarah's aunt. If y'all know Sarah, she had an aunt who's passed, Debbie, who was an RN, and she'd been following, she'd been going back and forth with Sarah, suggesting oils to take, suggesting different things to do. She's trying to help diagnose over the phone too. And she asked when he got home what the doctor said, and we told him, he's like, yeah, he's not concerned about anything immediate, but just, be careful. Don't go anywhere. Just kind of watch for dizzy spells, whatever, stuff like that. And then she asked, what is your blood sugar, Darren? Well, have you taken it? I'm like, ooh, I haven't. I just totally forgot these last 4 days. I've just been concentrating on taking oils and keeping that going. And then, yeah, we took my blood sugar, and it was my meter said high, HI. We'd never seen that before. Like, what is that? I'm like, well, hi back. How you doing? So I took another reading, and it said 550. And Debbie immediately like, okay, you need to go to the hospital now. That's your like diabetic coma territory. Get there now. So the next part of my story does involve the gallbladder loss. So it does kind of work for that. So I get in there to Methodist up here in the Woodlands, just north of Houston, and they find out that my gallbladder is 5 times its normal size and has gone septic, and it needed to come out that night. So when they did that, they got it out in time. Sarah's still oiling me up, and they discovered the day after that I'm recovering, and they're concerned that I may have had a heart attack during the operation. So they go in and it's like, yeah, it's probably nothing, Darren, but we're going to check. We have enzymes that kind of resemble that you would have during a heart attack. Did all that, and so they went in and scoped me to see what had happened, and they found that 3 of my arteries were, well, 2 of them 90% clogged and 1 100% clogged for my heart, and I was going to have immediate triple bypass. Like as soon as I recovered from the gallbladder, give a few days, and then they're going in. So that all happened. Within 2 weeks, I had a emergency gallbladder removal, heart attack, triple bypass. They had to go back in and replace all the repipe the heart. They said the heart was great. They said the heart was strong, and coming out of that, I did code, so they couldn't get my heart going for like 20 seconds. Uh, cool testimony with that. But anyway, uh, obviously I'm here, so they got the code back. But they did. Sarah started noticing some things after the after I started coming to. After a day or two, I started getting conscious, and she started noticing some odd things about me. I mean, I'm an odd person anyway, but more odd than normal. She started noticing the left side of my face was kind of drooping. And she's like asking them, the RNs and everybody, hey, has he been tested for a stroke? He's talking a little crazy. He's not making a lot of sense. His voice has changed and his face is drooping. And they're like, okay, we hadn't tested for that. So they did. And sure enough, I'd had a stroke. So long story short, they do, I'm out probably a week after that. Sarah has to pull all kinds of strings and found the favor of God with the right nurses and the right doctors and got everything prepared for me to come home because they had to have a wheelchair. They had to have proof of that there was a walker because I couldn't walk. My blood pressure was all over the place. But one thing they did find in surgery, they were amazed that my heart, the vessels around my heart had started working around the blockages for all three veins. There had been some arteries that just formed around the blockages. And they were like, like 1 in 3 people who don't, or are not diabetic, who have no issues whatsoever, 1 in 3 people, we might see this, and never a type 2 diabetic. We've never seen a type 2 diabetic have vessels go around the blockage like that. So I'm like, well, Jesus first, yes, and oils and supplements and us working out 3-4 days a week, I contribute to that because they couldn't point to anything else. There's no, you really they said I defied the odds in a lot of ways. My recovery was sped up. They were giving me probably 2 months of recovery time. And I mean, I went in there having to be taken in and wheeling me in a wheelchair for like the first week. And I just gradually, like within the first week, I was in the walker. I was there probably on the walker for 2 weeks. And then after that, boom, I was just able to walk to the car, go to the appointments, do all the therapies I need. And so I did that for 8 weeks. And by the last 3 weeks, I was driving myself, totally able to process and drive. And, they couldn't tell me what to expect with the stroke. So trying to outguess how it's going to affect my life, they didn't even try. So we just got every oil, from brain power to anything that I could apply for the head, anything mind wise. I'm still taking mind wise every morning. That was my regimen and still is, and just loaded up on every. Sarah had a complete list of what to take before I ate breakfast, after I ate breakfast, before lunch, right before dinner, and right after dinner. You probably saw it, Laura. It was a whole big thing in our butler's pantry, where all the oils and all the supplements were. Also had these charts that I just followed. Like, okay, of course, after the stroke, the learning to manage and focus and was very, very hard. So that was a godsend to have that out in front of me every day where I could just check the list. And even reading after the stroke, reading was very difficult. I found myself, well, in the hospital, the first thing I noticed on how bad this, well, what the stroke had affected was I couldn't read a clock. I woke up one night, I was very hungry, I was starving. It's like, it's got to be morning time. I don't see the sun, but my body's telling me it's morning. And I remember looking at this analog clock at the hands, and I couldn't tell what time it was. I was like, my gosh, wow, something something is has affected this for sure. I mean, it was only the next day they confirmed it, but yeah, it took me like 5 minutes to figure out. I had to go back to second grade. Okay, little hand does means this, big hand means this. Hours meant okay, all right. So things like that had to be redeveloped and rewired in my brain. Little things like getting in a car or getting on a bike. I'd forgotten how. I like, do I butt first, leg first, head down now? So many weird little things that I had to relearn and allow my brain to rewire and repatch and form the neural pathways again. And so, now, of course, it's like it was 6 years later. It's going to be 6 years later here in June. I mean, everything's more or less back to as far as that goes. Uh, those involuntary emotions are second nature again, like they were before. So yeah, I've just kept the same regimen. Not, I haven't stopped taking anything. I have had to take some more KB tincture because of the meds I'm taking are hard on the kidneys and bladder. So glad we have KB tincture because that I had done some tests that had shown my some higher enzyme or higher enzyme. Sarah could tell you specifically what was being shown, but the kidneys were getting beat up, and of course I started taking K and B at least once a day. Did that for 3 months. Next round of tests with the doctor, like, okay, your your levels are back to normal. So okay, great. So anyway, that's kind of where I'm in today. There's a lot of things, of course, spiritually. I am a believer, and uh, yeah, what God's done in my life, and has been amazing. Dealing with post-stroke depression and anxiety, which I'd never had before, and the oils and supplements have obviously helped out with that. But that, of course, that biggest win goes to God, and just giving giving me the Holy Spirit when I needed it most, when I felt just like, what's a stroke? What is depression? How do I manage it? How do I meet it? How do I overcome? So it's all been a process, but yeah, these last 6 years have been uh, it's a different life. And anyway, yeah. So
So I want to talk to you a little bit about the things that you've done for your blood sugar. And I know it's a constant process, but Ningxia Red was one of the things that you mentioned, nitro and Ningxia. How do you do with those supplements? Are there times of day that you found that you just have to experiment to see what you did best with them?
well, I do take Ninja in the morning, and of course, with Ninja, you do get a bump in your blood sugar. So I have to. That's about the only time I do it. Of course, if I'm feeling sick or anything, I do load up on the Ninja. But inner defense for me, man, that's the rock star. Sarah just has gone through a round of sickness, and I even started feeling some symptoms one morning. Stayed home from work. 2 rounds of inner defense, 2 capsules apiece, and by the afternoon, I'm like, all right, I'm good. So, but yeah, Ninja in the morning. I have it mixed with Amino Wise. This is right after our workout. Um, I should have brought I should have brought all my other props in, but Amino Wise and Ninja go together with several other supplements. Um, let's see, I'm not going to remember here. Then I take nitro kind of first thing in the morning. I take the balance and complete, or balance, not balance and complete, but
Balance and
balance,
burn. Mhm.
balance burn. I'll take the powder first thing in the morning, and then I'll take my nitro and endogize before I really have anything. Go work out. Then I'll have my red drink after that. And usually the red, of course, the red drink, breaks the fast. So that's when I'll do my other supplements for the day. Except for liver tone, I'll do that for at lunch, and I do essential zymes for and liver tone at lunch. So
Okay, I'm taking notes here to put a list all together at the end. Um, and some of you are probably going, okay, endogize. You think of that as like a hormone, but when you remember what the organ that is most affected by blood sugar
I'm
and
sorry. I'm
insulin
sorry,
is
not
the pancreas.
essential zyme. Essential zyme.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you did say essential zyme, but you said endogize earlier
Well,
too.
that's right. Trying to think. Yeah.
So endogize for the
Yeah. Essential
pancreas.
zyme for at lunch, and then yeah, that's right.
And that would be, we are going this year through the body systems. And so we're not going to actually hit on pancreas until it's the best time of the year to work on the pancreas is the summertime. But unless you're having a chronic issue, you work on it when you need to work on it. But like right now, it's winter. So we're working on the kidneys and the bladder. It's a great time, like Darren mentioned, to take K and B and just to support those, and then the gallbladder and liver are spring. So if Darren was talking about seeing the signs, seeing the warning signs, and that's a good time to start working on those. But we'll get into the pancreas more this summer and talk about that and insulin. But endogize, people think of it just like for hormones to regulate your reproductive hormones, but endogize and endoflex and anything with endo is going to be beneficial to the endocrine system, and that's all your glands. That's the pancreas. That's, it's beneficial for your adrenals, which stress is a big, major contributing factor. I'm sure Darren can
Since I have no
say
more
that as well.
gallbladder.
Yeah, that's right. So he has no more gallbladder, so he cannot metabolize fats. So that's why he's having to use essential enzymes for. So people out there who do not have a gallbladder, you need help with if you're eating fats. You need help with metabolizing and processing, digesting fats. And so that's what essential enzyme 4 is for. I was looking to see if Jen Brown is on this call. She's one of the big proponents of essential enzyme 4 because she doesn't have a gallbladder. Darren, I kind of put together a list here, and I'm sure it's not an exhaustive list, but he's correct. When you visited their house, especially right after everything he went through in 2020, it was, she had a chart of when to take it and what. And people are going, oh, I wish I had a picture of that. I'm sure people are wanting to like, well, what's your protocol? So I'm going to give you the list of the things that he took. But Darren's body is different from your body or whoever else is out there. So what you do is you just look. What Sarah did is she didn't go get a protocol for somebody. She looked on she knew the Young Living products. She looked in her resource guides, which we're always telling you guys, use your resource guides. Mine hardly has a I'm losing a bind because I use them all the time. I've got notes in these. Go through your books before you get into a situation that's chronic. Darren started using the oils and making healthier choices, making better choices, but you can't out supplement poor nutrition choices. You can't out supplement lifestyle choices. So what he ended up doing was having to play catch up a lot and having to do repair and emergency at the same time. So now's the time if you're starting to see some of these things happening in your life or someone else's, now's the time to make those changes and use your resources and then look at what you have. Then what we do is we look at it individually for us. You can do it for on the iTovi, you can do muscle testing. You can see what your body needs, and you can start to keep journals to look and see what's happening. Darren was talking about testing his blood sugar, use a glucose monitor, being able to have some numbers to show progress, because that's where it comes down to it. He was also working with doctors. So that wasn't, he was not out here going willy-nilly. He was specifically understanding what his body needed and then taking action to find it. And it wasn't without traditional medicine. He had to take some things in emergency situations and some things for maintenance, of course. But while he was doing that and getting advice from the doctors, he didn't stop with his oils. He didn't. He was, and I will tell you, Darren, you were an inspiration. I mean, I remember seeing. We would even go out a few times when we came to Houston. I remember one time, I think we went out for something with Deborah Rayburn to celebrate something, and you were so good about what you ate and so careful. I was really impressed. I was really
Hmm.
impressed because I don't see that a lot of times with people who maybe after the emergency phase, people just kind of slowly go back to what they did before. But Darren has been consistent. He's been very, very rigid because I think Darren has a high desire to live.
Right.
And I think that that's what was driving him was that and it goes back to the spiritual aspect of it, is that he knew that God had a call on his life and hadn't been, his number wasn't called up yet. So,
Well, and grandkids yet to see. So
amen. Amen. I really feel like and I know whenever I saw you in 2020 for the first time, it'd been a while. You came up, you guys were up at Houston. We were church, and I just remember
yeah,
embracing you, and I got emotional because I'd been praying for
right.
you and believing for you. I didn't anticipate that I was going to be so emotional, but that was really cool because there were so many people praying for you, and it's just awesome that
Right.
you're here, all these years later, being able to tell your testimony because we were very grateful that the Lord um, brought you back after that code. That was a day.
Yes, it was a day. It was. Thank you. Thank you for standing and praying. I mean, that was a part of my testimony, and the people. Anyway, we had an awesome just the day that if you ever get a chance to talk to Sarah, since she was awake, she has the best story of the day I had my triple bypass and coded, and the
Yeah.
people who were literally online with us, like Sarah had on the phone. She had a text thread, and she had people she was calling, trying to keep everybody informed as best as possible. We had one dear couple that was just praying with us every day that they had a special word when I coded what they saw in the spirit. So it's yeah, it's not a time for that, but it did
Yeah.
happen. And just you can't help but go through a situation like that and come on the other side changed, hopefully for the better. And that
Amen.
that totally has. And I just haven't looked back. But like you said, it did start a few years before when I just okay, I realized I cannot have blood sugar this high every day.
Hmm.
I don't, who knows how many days it had been 400, and I just kept on adding to the fire.
Hmm.
So yeah, I just knew it's like I don't want to die early. I do not want to die early. I think I was 43, 44 maybe. That was 10 years ago. That's 11 years ago. So yeah, I was about 45 when all that happened. Like, yeah, I'm too young. I got
Yeah.
to live. And anyway, and and here's the thing: it would have been hopeless if I didn't have a way, a physical way in front of me. It's like I know what I can do. My wife teaches it. You teach it. Use the oils. Do the supplements every day. Act like they're live a life like they're going to work, and you're taking them serious. It's like it's like your walk with Christianity. Act like it's real. Okay. So I mean that is what caused me just to never look back, really.
Amen. Amen. Our words have life and death. And so when you're putting your oils on, you're not just putting them on to go through a ritual or routine. You're putting your oils on and understanding that they were created by God to be able to bring healing and wholeness and that go into your body and do the job. And then also to marry the physical, the oil, the plant power in with the spiritual in a belief system. And that's putting those two together is very, very powerful. So anointing and praying together, you've covered the bases.
Yeah.
I put in the chat the list of oils that you put together. Actually, Dominique had shared the oils, and I copied it and then added the supplements that you're taking. And we can add any more here that maybe aren't on the list, but specifically for blood sugar, the daily capsules that you were taking, Okatea, which was kind of the star of the show. And I remember when Okatea was out of stock. And I
Mm.
feel like this was maybe 2019 when we were at Diamond Retreat in Spain, because I remember getting oil
Oh, right.
for you. Like you could
Yep.
only get so many. I got more for you in Spain, and we
Well,
brought back a whole bunch.
right. And then there's when we went to Banff, I think Canada.
Canada.
There's one season we had to get a bunch in Canada because we couldn't
Hmm.
have it available in the United States. Should we
Hmm.
talk about the way we had to bootleg across the
Yeah,
border?
go ahead.
That's 6 years
Yeah,
ago.
you do what you got to
However,
do. You
do
do what you got to do. But Okatea was the star, and so coriander,
yep.
cinnamon bark, dill, and fennel. Which it's March of 2026, and fennel is it's an oil that was free with 100 PV loyalty this month. There he goes. Show it off, Vanna. Um,
Yep.
there you go. And it says fennel. There's no L in the chat. But then the supplements you mentioned, MindWise, Inner Defense, Cardiogize, K&B Tincture, Nincture Red, Nitro, AminoWise, Balance and Burn, Endogize, Liver Tone, and Essential Zyme 4. And
Well, yeah, there's multi greens and prostate. There's,
multigreens, prostate health. Um, I'm sure there's additional ones, but those were also Balance and Burn wasn't one that you took back in
no.
the beginning. Well, what you told me today, was it today that you told me that Balance and Burn is something that is actually, since you've started taking it, you're noticing it's also helping with blood sugar.
Well, no, well, no, I haven't seen it. Actually, it's been varied. My
Okay,
first
it's
few days,
very
I noticed some 3, 4 days of, uh, I mean, probably by 30 points lower.
okay.
And then once again, we're still on a journey. Life's a journey. I haven't had a consistent run like that.
Okay.
Uh, but I've had random days where it's like at 110,
Okay.
120, which is pretty low for me in the mornings.
Hmm.
Usually, after everything, I've taken everything the night before, and my fasting is about 150, which is still a little high. It's pre diabetic, but it
Yeah.
still is a little high.
Well,
Uh,
better than 450 though.
Heck yes, and definitely better than 500. No, the thing
Okay.
I've noticed with the balance and burn is um, it's hard to explain, but I've I haven't changed my eating schedule. I haven't changed how much I've eaten, but I have noticed I'm actually getting hungry for lunch or right before dinner. I'm like really hungry, and that hadn't happened in years.
Hmm.
So the way it's affecting me, I haven't heard anybody else with those like, hey, it's one of me, it's caused me to lose 10, 15 pounds. Hey, I've lost inches. Hey, I'm on more alert. It's like, okay, that's not my story yet.
Hmm.
What it is right now is I am definitely feeling hungry around meals, not shaky hungry, uh, but hungry enough to like, okay, let's get something to eat. I don't want to
Hmm.
get hangry, but just having the hunger sensation is something I hadn't had in years.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it all fits in, but that is the noticeable difference I've seen.
Well, and from the science and the experts that are talking to us about balance and burn, it takes time for you literally to balance. I mean, it's not an overnight thing. So it could
Right.
be something from a blood sugar standpoint. You saw a lot in the beginning, or you saw some movement in the beginning, but that pendulum kind of has to swing back and forth a little bit before it comes to the middle. So that's not an unheard of response. Young Living was already telling us that, anticipate that there's going to be some movement as you balance. And so you might see some early results, and then it may be a little while till you see those, kind of come back again. But that's is your
No,
body healing and your body
right.
balancing. So,
I mean, like the other supplements, I'm in it for the long haul.
yeah,
As far as I'm concerned, it's something else I'm going to be taking it's my lifestyle now.
yeah.
I've just added that in. So,
Well, I want to say one last thing. There were a couple of people who specifically requested this call tonight, and there's some people that were dealing with this kind of as a new thing, a new diagnosis. If you could go back, 11 years and talk to Darren at the diagnosis and encourage, what would you say to you back then as someone who's newly diagnosed?
boy, don't get depressed when things aren't making sense. Don't get exasperated um, because your body is not functioning properly. And there may be 6 or 7 other reasons that it's not. Like, we didn't know what was causing my type 2 diabetic. We had just had assumed it was because of my trashy, terrible eating lifestyle forever. And then we find out, oh, no, there's another part to it. It is a genetic issue. Doesn't mean you can go back to eating crap, but this is another piece to the puzzle. Um, and we work on it. I also found out I'm allergic to alcohol, so there goes my chance of ever being an alcoholic. But oh well, life goes on. I would just I've had to really just learn to approach it, not hanging my hat, not like this is it. It's got to be it. Like no, like God, I trust you, and if this is not it, I still trust you. Okay, yeah, that's my approach to the oils and supplements. Okay, if it doesn't work for me, like Gary always said, like you ever found something that works for you, keep on trying.
Yeah.
Keep on trying. So, and that's definitely been my attitude. Is like, okay, I'm still in it for the long haul. I'm not going to not take the oils. I'm not going to not take the supplements. I will jump on. Hey, yeah, somebody comes in and tells me I've had this success using these oils or these supplements. I'm going to try it. What have I got to lose? I can
Yeah.
only get better blood sugar sustained. And in addition to all that, and the computer program that's always running in my mind is, supernatural healing.
Yeah.
I would rather, yes, I'd rather choose to take those oils, and it's because they do good for other parts of the body other than just blood sugar. I would love to just choose, not really have to help manage. So
Mhm.
I'm still believing for that, and that's if I would if I would adopted that probably 10, 15, 12 years ago, it would have been easier, less frustrations, less days of just feeling hopeless. You know, of course, after the stroke, that complicated that till I figured out what was going on there. But that would be the biggest thing. It just you know don't hang your hat on the next product, because even when Young Living introduced Balance and Burn, it was like, hey, give it 60 days, give it 30 days. It's going to affect different people in different ways. Do the same thing that they said. Don't just give it a try, and don't be distracted or discouraged when it doesn't go like it went for your friend who lost 12 inches and 15 pounds in 2 weeks. Okay.
Mhm.
Right. So
Yeah.
that's probably the biggest thing.
That's good advice. I think that's good advice in anyone's health journey because we all tend to compare and look at others and want to have, okay, well, I want to get to that. Well, tell me exactly what you did, but we don't know what your body's dealing with that person's body was dealing with. And also the work, I think back at all of the oils you were taking and all the things that you were doing before you were admitted to the hospital in 2020 and what that was actually, how your body was prepared, how your body,
Right.
even with your heart, and how you,
Oh yeah, I had the meds that I
yeah,
didn't have to take. Where
yeah,
doctors and nurses were shocked
yeah,
that I was not in pain after what I'd went through. I was uncomfortable. I just had my chest open, but the amount of meds that I wasn't taking, they were like, okay, whatever. Of course, we did have some great nurses that were fine with diffusers going, and then just Sarah visiting when she shouldn't have been allowed up there because they shut that all down. So that really helped. And she was, of course, smuggling in oils and different things like that, making sure I had as much as um, I had or thought she would, thought I would need, you know. But yeah,
Right.
between that and the recovery time after the stroke, doing the therapy, uh, every step of the way was remarkable. Doctors, therapists, just like, wow, few people we see recover this quickly. Have gone through this much. Yes, I was 51, and they consider that very young for triple bypass. But just considering everything I went through, like, you're a miracle. Like, well, thank you. Yes, yes, I'm a genius too. Don't forget that, and humble. Uh, but yeah, the lifestyle that I had incorporated pushed me through that. I mean, I never felt any fear, Laura, the whole time, because God, I knew God was with me, and I knew, okay, after this this is probably going to be a long haul to recover. Uh, but I've got some of the best people on my mind, on my team with some of the best supplement. I don't have to go wondering, okay, I wonder if there's something that can help me. If there's a natural thing that can help me, like I'm in the perfect place for that.
Amen. This has been good. Well, I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you for sharing with everybody. I'm going to look through, and there were some questions that we can answer here. There's a couple that we'll have to just answer off camera. They're asking, again, going back to, we've got the list of supplements and oils that Darren took, and you even took the supplements for, or the oils for blood sugar are ones that you got from Karen originally. And Karen has,
The
yeah, the
list.
list of the oils was five: the ocotea, coriander, cinnamon bark, dill, and fennel. That was originally from Karen, but you guys, from a capsule stand, you're putting those in capsules, not under your tongue, right?
Correct. I
Okay.
mean, Okatea does work. If you do, I have done that in the morning. If I see my blood sugars kind of higher than normal, I will take probably 7 or 8 drops of Okatea under the tongue, and I've tested it, and it can drop as many as 20 points in 10 minutes. So I have experimented with that a little bit. I don't get queasy with blood, so I've actually tested all my fingers on the hands and try to, like, okay, which hand do I get the best reading on? Which finger do I get the best? And they're all mixed up. I mean, I can poke the same finger twice and get two different readings by
Mhm.
20 or 30 points difference. So,
Wow.
like, all right. So, with that, I just, you know, I learned that early on. Um, but anyway, yeah, I still do that every day. And the question was, what again?
No, you answered it. This one was, we're talking about the oils.
Oh,
So that
oh
was
yeah,
all
capsules.
internal
Yeah, about
capsules
20
under your tongue.
capsules in each.
20
And
drops of each in each
yeah,
capsule.
I'm sorry. Yes, 20 drops in each capsule once in the morning. Now, I can do it. There was a season I was doing it in the evening. Um, I probably could still be doing that. I just haven't. I've fallen off the train, but at least I'm still doing it in the morning. Uh, but yeah, 20 drops in each capsule in the morning, and take it with the other supplements.
Yeah. One question was, what was your favorite oil smell when needing an emotional hug? So when you're talking about your spiritual walk or your,
Hmm.
um, what oils, maybe if somebody's dealing, those diagnosed people, what would you encourage them to use for anointing themselves?
Well, highest potential is my favorite smelling oil. Period. I've always loved that.
Mhm.
Um, Joy is one that is a connection to peace. I mean, I've heard all the testimonies of people who use joy and they put it on, they just feel giddy. Some people laugh. It's like, okay, I that doesn't have that effect on me, but I have taken it when, okay, God, I want to feel, I've built a response to it by praying first. Like when I feel anxious, depressed, lack of focus, whatever, I will, when I'm praying, put that on as an auditory, not auditory, but a smell stimulus to, okay, this is, this is another way of getting peace, another way of joy. I mean, Holy Spirit first, God first, of course, but the way our body can work. My daughter even proved this because she would take certain oils during tests that would trigger her mind to the things that she'd studied. Because when she was studying, she had smelt a certain oil.
Mhm.
So the teachers never called her on it, and that would help her jog her memory. And she's our kid that's working on her doctorate now. So I, but that's one thing she brags that helps got her through a lot of hard tests was
Yeah,
that method. Smelling certain oils while she's studying, then smelling those same oils while she's taking the test.
it's good.
And,
So read your word, read your scriptures, and then have those oils on hand to breathe again and remember the truth of God's word.
yeah. And I think I haven't heard anybody else's testimony like that. Maybe there was. I haven't heard it. So I want to brag on my daughter and say it was hers first. It's her
Oh,
idea. Genius.
the PhD candidate right now. I love
Yep.
it.
Working on it.
I love it. Okay, so that is quite the story, guys, and I'm so glad that that you requested Darren to come and talk. He was fantastic. I think we need to hear more of Darren's story, more of Darren and with the mic in the future too. So
Do
he
some
really
stand
is.
up. Maybe put
I'm telling you, he is hilarious.
it.
And now I'm going to say this, and he's not going to say anything funny because
Oh, come on. You just wait till I get my adult puppet ministry going. That's going to slay. That's going to be great.
Darren. Okay, but seriously, we are the most fun people at family get-togethers. Let's put it
Come
out
on.
there.
I think so. I think so. We're
Prove me
like a
wrong.
hurricane.
Prove me wrong.
Right.
Okay, Max Hopkins can zing him in
He
there if
gets
you
in
want me
there,
to.
especially with Rufus.
Oh, I'm just joking. All right, well, guys, thank you so much. I'm gonna end the call now, and then I'm gonna keep talking for a little bit afterwards after I hit the recording for upcoming events. So, but Darren, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for putting up with my time.
Oh,
My stories.
you were fantastic. Thank you so much.
All right.